Welcome to week 2. This is module 3, and we're going to talk about strategic initiatives for HIT systems. HIT is an acronym for Health Information Technology. So we have a lot of learning objectives, 8 here, and I won't read through all of them, but these will be the same learning objectives that you will see in many of our lectures because a lot of them overlap. So I will give you a moment to read through these on your own. So what we're looking at here is one example of a conceptual framework for defining and understanding tasks and issues. And this is important in healthcare because there are different types of workflows in a health system. There can be simple workflows, complicated workflows, and complex workflows. So simple workflows are really something where somebody's asking for some information. Maybe it's scheduling an appointment, and that information goes into a system. There's a calendar entry that's made, and that's a pretty simple workflow. Then you have complicated workflows where everybody understands what the outcome needs to be, but maybe there's multiple departments involved. And then there's complex outcomes where there can be risk, and that could be something like a handover in communication about the patient between two different units within a health system. And the design and implementation of health information technology, or HIT, can be challenging, particularly when it's being introduced into a complex setting. And keep in mind when we look at other types of technology in other industries such as e-commerce, that's pretty straightforward. You know, a financial transaction where you have a customer and you have an order and there's some type of payment, you know, whether it's a credit card or PayPal or something like that, that's a pretty straightforward transaction between a customer and the e-commerce organization. And it's not always that way in a healthcare system. The healthcare industry is rapidly implementing interoperable electronic records, otherwise known as EHRs or electronic medical records, EMRs, and this has really been going on since about the mid-90s. And this movement has been driven by the meaningful use incentives from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and also for payment reform, moving away from fees for service, and moving more towards value-based care. And this places a strong emphasis on following the evidence, care coordination, and population management. So let's talk a little more about health system workflows. The goal of HIT design and implementation in a workflow is to support the core functionalities to coordinate communication and data flow, to inform and support clinician decisions for timely and effective response, and to reduce information failures and errors. Central tools for achieving these goals include at the top of data and knowledge level management tools, having a usable electronic clinical information infrastructure to collect, organize, and distribute timely information for different types of uses from different types of sources, whether it's bedside nursing, laboratory, imaging. Those are just a few of many examples. A search engine to allow users to search and locate for patients, test results, and other providers quickly. A customized record and trend views and dashboards to provide users with overviews of information at a very high level, because many clinicians only have a few minutes to spend with patients. So to see this overview level information, and then to have the ability to drill down to a specific level of detail if needed. And clinical decision support to guide care and trigger appropriate user actions. Then at the patient level management tools, electronic medical records to document and review patient course, computerized order entry to initiate and document care instructions, medication administration tools to track and control medication delivery, picture archiving and communication systems to allow point-of-care visualization of imaging results for clinical use in education, whether this comes from an imaging system or even images of dermatology conditions or something else. And then care unit level management, central monitors to monitor physiologic measures for multiple patients at the same time, electronic whiteboards to locate and organize patient workflow throughout the health system, and then also beyond the healthcare unit, communication networks to communicate, to assess, and allocate regional resources in case patients need to be transferred within the health system or outside of the health system, telemedicine, having appointments with between clinician and patient over the use of video, virtual intensive care units to provide expertise and control remotely, which is monitoring ICUs through like a telemedicine setup, and surveillance systems to alert care systems of possible hazards or threats at the hospital and community levels. So that could be something like a natural disaster, such as like the wildfires that we've seen in California, earthquakes, or hurricanes, or accidents. So let's move on to using data mining to build alerting systems for decision support in healthcare. So going back many years, we really started with what we call decision support in a healthcare system. And what we're really moving to now and in the future are predictive or even prescriptive analytics, because decision support was more about what has happened. And now we really want to move into an area where we could have alerts that come from data in the EMR and other sources to be able to predict and even stop something bad from happening. Health maintenance alerts are reminders about preventative or chronic care services that are recommended for a particular patient. Excuse me. They pop up whenever an electronic chart is opened. Alerts can be based on recent or historical lab results, condition codes, or other criteria from the EMR. So, for example, there could be a combination of criteria for blood glucose levels, lab results, and previous history of diabetes that may have an alert pop up to let someone know to order a diabetic meal plan for the patient. The U.S. Department of Health and Human Services has a health information technology strategy. The link is here. You can go out to www.healthit.gov. And this strategy comes from the Office of the National Coordinator for Health Information Technology, otherwise known as ONC, Office of the Secretary. And the only way for health IT to achieve its full potential is when IT unobtrusively supports individuals as they strive to reach their full potential for health. And you can see here the vision and the mission with goals from Health and Human Services. And so a lot of this dictates what Medicare and Medicaid services have to do, and also health systems, whether they are for-profit or not for-profit, academic medical centers, or community hospitals. So the Federal Health IT vision and mission, the vision is high quality care, lower costs, healthy population, and engaged people. And the mission is to improve the health and well-being of individuals and communities through the use of technology and health information that is accessible when and where it matters most. So here's some information from the news in November of 2018. Black Book survey of more than 1,500 executives confirms the changing role of the healthcare CIO. 88% of non-IT hospital leaders in 2018 see the demand for their technology expertise radically intensifying. The strategic role of chief information officers is decreasing as the shift toward decentralized technology management moves out of the IT function and into the department heads within the health systems and the line of business executives. Health systems are seeking more consultative type executives who can orchestrate integration strategies, business goals, digitalization opportunities, evaluate innovations, and consult to the line of business managers. That does not suggest that the CIO is headed for extinction, but the role of the CIO in hospitals and health systems is changing dramatically from what used to be an application, programming and development, and hardware and software, more towards information management. Back in 2015, CIOs held the balance of power over IT purchasing decisions, and they controlled 71% of decisions. In the past few years, that figure has fell to just 8%. As healthcare organizations transform work processes through digitalization, the department leaders involved must logically uphold the authority of those processes. CIOs ranked artificial intelligence and cyber security 94%, Internet of Things 90%, and interoperability 82% as the most problematic technologies to implement in 2019. So think back a few slides when we talked about complicated and complex workflows in healthcare. So in summary, HIT is challenging due to complex environments within healthcare systems. Workflows must be considered, but unfortunately are often forgotten, disregarded, or need risk mitigation due to cybersecurity concerns. Many times in the past, IT has implemented certain IT products, systems, without really considering things like clinicians may not always be able to log in and out of systems over and over again when they're busy working with patients. Data mining from the EMR can be used for alerts, but too many alerts can cause alert fatigue with clinicians, and then they end up ignoring or bypassing alerts, and they could end up missing valuable information that's needed for patient safety. Health systems must pay attention to the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services for guidance and compliance, and the roles of the Chief Information Officer and Information Technology units have been changing and will continue to change. Also for this week, up next is Week 2, Module 4. When you're ready, you may proceed to Week 2, Module 4, and don't forget to complete the Canvas assignments.